Today we're in the beautiful Nakano,
Yes.
where a legendary old, what would you, oh.
That's no good.
Hello and welcome to Heart Officers. My name is Kyle,
I'm Zach.
and we are here in beautiful Nakano in Tokyo
Yes.
to check out the famous Nakano Broadway.
Yes. It's a mall, basically, but it's a really weird mall because the floors don't make any sense. There's a lot of like awkward staircases that come out in places that you don't understand. It's pretty weird.
So we're gonna check it out,
Absolutely.
see what they have.
Absolutely.
Hey.
Hey.
It's a pretty cool place. I actually have some important memories here because I lived kind of sort of close to here for quite a while. That's me thinking about my memories.
Before you get to Nakano Broadway, there's this little game shop you can stop inside of. We got a couple things there.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place overall, even outside the mall, just because the area right out to the station and near the mall, even kind of on each side of it, is just a bunch of old places to drink and eat and
Kind of, you could say, shitamachi feeling.
yeah, that kind of old school downtown feeling.
Old working class city.
This is inside the mall, but the first floor really doesn't have anything of interest. Unless you want
say
a bunch of
that,
shoes.
but at the end of the day, I did find something on the first floor, so
That
never
is-
say never.
that actually is true. I was surprised.
Here's an important note. Escalator only goes to the third floor. Second floor is where all the cool game stuff is. So if you want to see that stuff, you definitely want to go to your right, take the stairs up to the second floor.
That's not just this escalator. That's all the escalators, we're pretty sure, in
Yes.
the mall. We've made that mistake too many times.
I think every time I've gone, I've made that mistake.
Yep,
So be smarter than us.
definitely.
Take the stairs.
Take the stairs.
Yeah, Nakano Broadway has this really cool old feeling. It's a hodgepodge mess.
Yeah, there's times where you go up a set of stairs and it doesn't go where you would think a thing at the top of the stairs would take
Yeah.
you to.
And you could call it a mall, but it's
Not really.
got its own vibe.
Yeah. It definitely feels more like a Shotengai kind of area. Basically like a market street area with a bunch of shops as opposed to an actual like mall.
Yeah.
So, pretty nifty place. I love it. I've been going there for like a decade now almost.
Just good vibes, man.
Good vibes. There's a lot of video game, old movie, that kind of memorabilia shops too. So it's a cool place to go even if you're not really looking to thrift around, just to see weird stuff.
Yeah, and like this, what would you call it? A mural? Sculpture?
I don't know. Pretty cool though. This is outside the Mandarake bookstore, I think. Or no, it's Maruyuu, sorry.
Looks like it.
Yep. It's not bad. We didn't actually go in here because it's not really what we wanted footage of. Oh, here we go.
There's a few shops that sell really high-end, like professional production gear, video and audio production, and music instruments and like audio equipment.
Yep.
I always just go in and drool at all this cool stuff. It's not anything we were looking to buy that day, but some of this stuff eventually could come in handy for the channel.
Indeed it could. Like, look at how cool it looks. They just have it on a random camera, and it looks awesome.
Yeah. That's a little 4K studio camera body. So I think it has things that you can plug in and control it remotely and all that fun stuff, like a real studio camera.
Pretty crazy. It also costs that amount,
Like $1,500.
which is...
For a camera that quality?
And that's one part of it, I think. I want to say there's a whole bunch of equipment all attached to that tripod there. So that's one part of
The body is just like the brain, and then you need the lens and whatever else goes with it.
It's a lot of stuff.
Super cool mixer that, if I remember correctly, wasn't priced that badly, like $150. That's something I could easily see myself buying and using.
This is where I thought about being a DJ and immediately decided not to.
He was laying down some smooth tracks.
Yep.
Keyboards, I love them. I don't really have any skill or ability, but I wish I did.
I actually do, but I never do it.
I just want to tinker.
Yeah.
I love to tinker. But we're not here to buy that. We're here to look at games.
This is those green lights we were talking about a bit ago that are so cool looking. There's some guy there.
Yeah, what's he doing? Get him out of here.
Okay. Yeah.
I love the vibe of it.
Yeah, I just love this place's energy. There's a baby. That's a Kewpie doll, right?
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Kewpie, the mayonnaise and ketchup brand in Japan.
That sweet jacket. It says 1986. That's the year I was born.
Look
Hot
at
dog.
that.
It's also $250.
Really cool, though.
Yep.
This is an audio shop. They have mostly like high-end consumer stuff for listening and enjoying music.
They have a lot of places that sell old movie memorabilia and stuff here too, I think.
And this is the famous Mandarake. They have like 6 or 7 different stores all inside Nakano Broadway.
Yeah. 300 yen for whatever that is. Oh yeah, this looked cool. It's called Rankin Tax. We didn't, I think, figure out what this was, but
Just a box of 300 yen junk.
pretty sweet. One world, one voice. I can get behind that.
And this is the music shop that sells all like what new wave and 80s synth centric music.
This is a sweet album that I actually had on CD as a kid. It's just like Moog versions of Bach songs. It's amazing. Listen to that a whole lot.
This is one of those places that they focus on a very specific kind of thing, and they collect pretty much only things worth owning in that genre.
Yep. It's a bunch of Devo stuff we're looking at there. Devo is a really sweet band. Love Devo. Kraftwerk, they're cool too.
We don't spend too much time looking at records because then we'll want to buy those too.
Yeah.
And then we saw this Yellow Magic Orchestra record over here.
That you thought about real hard for a second, but you don't buy records, so
Yeah, maybe someday.
eventually.
It's a great album.
It's yeah, I've listened to it quite a bit myself as well, actually. Love that stuff.
Check that out.
Yeah. Teeth. Bleh. Some underwear. Good.
Another just kind of memorabilia shop. I think that's actually where we saw the underwear.
Yeah.
Adventure Time stuff and lots of toys in this case.
It's surprising how many shops specialize in non-Japanese memorabilia. There's not as much anime stuff as you'd think in Nakano Broadway. So, Toy Story.
Some really old Mickeys down there we'll see in a second.
Yep.
Seems like mostly Disney related stuff in this area.
Yeah, they try and, at least from my impression, keep everything together by series, which is, cool. A lot of this stuff's really expensive though. So.
And things from our childhood.
Yeah.
90s Turtles figures.
I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kid to the max. That guy with the hockey mask there,
Casey Jones.
played with him all the time as a kid.
That was like the height of toys for me.
Yep. Gremlins. So much ET stuff. ET is really popular in Japan, actually.
You can buy that ET figure for $80, or you can buy this cool Godzilla rubbing his tummy.
It's a hungry Godzilla. Look at how grumpy that thing is.
I wish I knew more about Godzilla.
As do I.
I want to watch them.
So here's the main dealie. This game shop. It's all soundtracks, I believe. Yeah, they have records, like LPs of game soundtracks.
Super cool.
Very, very, very cool.
Very expensive, too.
Very expensive, yeah. God.
Whenever Zach sees things that he can't afford, his eyes do that.
Yep. Cool strategy guides. There's a Darius one. It's almost $60.
Probably some real cool art in there, though.
Yeah, that's really what you buy them for, the art more than anything else. I have a couple issues of Gamist. One of them I bought on a previous episode.
That is
And
true.
I did get it because they hand draw all the level designs and stuff like that. It's insane. Stuff from the 80s for that is just super cool. Game & Watches.
Those are really expensive. Yeah. In box. There's too many numbers. I can't even tell how expensive they are.
Doing the math, the conversion is just too much for our poor brains to handle.
Yeah. Game & Watches are extremely collectible. I don't think I'm going to go down that road.
Mm-mm. Summer Carnival Rekka, that's for the shoot 'em up competition from like 1992. It's one of the most expensive Famicom games, I believe.
And there's
It's
Gimmick.
so rare. Gimmick, also the most expensive Famicom game, pretty damn close to it. At least it's not like a bootleg. Pretty crazy stuff. This shop has all of it somehow, but it's a division of Mandarake.
I think this case is actually inside the store. They have a lot of these cool Mega Drive games. Genesis in the US.
Ooh.
Game Boy Light, the Japan-only backlit Game Boy.
Yeah.
For $500. That's a lot for a Game Boy Light.
Game Boy Color. That's Twinkle Star Sprites. That is a $7,500 game.
$7,500. The Game Boy Micro is $750. Just
Genesis
crazy.
Zone, soundtrack? Yeah. Zuntata, they make the music for the Darius series. The Taito music people, and everything they make is incredible and super like atmospheric and weird. I don't know what that's for, but Zuntata is sweet.
Now moving into the store, you see all kinds of games. That's the PS1 section, I believe. Here's a game I've been eyeing for a while. I like this Art Dink company. They make just weird like simulation games, and they even made some dungeon crawlers called Lunatic Dawn. Just a kind of out there company. But I didn't buy it that day. I do find it in a later episode for much cheaper.
Yeah. Looks like back here in the back we got some Famicom. There's some DS. There's so much at this store, and it's so well organized. There's a lot of stores you go to where it's just piles of stuff, but this place was very clean, organized. Everything in plastic cases, and yeah, I mean you pay for it. It's not one of the cheapest stores we've been to, but it's still very well curated.
You can find good stuff there.
You can. Here's
There's
Famicom.
a nicer shot of all the Famicom games and into the Super Famicom games. One of my personal favorite consoles of all time.
Indeed.
And there's Game Boy games there. Here's a Game Boy game that I actually picked up. Solar Striker. Cool old shooter.
Over here we have boxed Famicom, I think that was?
That was Box Game Boy.
Box
I think.
Game Boy. You would know that. You're the Game Boy boy. More Game Boy, it looks like. Maybe not.
That might have been Box Famicom.
Sweet.
All kinds of stuff. I think I saw Mega Drive up there. Just a lot of those, that era, 90s boxed games.
Flashback. So I think this is Mega Drive.
I mean, it would take hours to actually thumb through everything in this store. We just focus on the specific consoles that we're interested in that time.
Yeah, so right recently there's been a lot of Game Boy and a lot of Wonderswan. So this is Linda Cube. It's kind of a mystery, like visual novel-y weird thing. It's usually really expensive. The most expensive one I think is the Saturn version, the complete one. But even the version there is pretty pricey.
And this is actually all Wonderswan, I think.
Yeah, this is the Wonderswan section, which was impressive. Chocobo's Dungeon on the Wonderswan. Yeah, this is actually exactly the same as the PlayStation 1 version. It's just in black and white on like the Wonderswan. Which is,
You want to share your sad story about this, Zach?
Yeah, I found it for way, way cheaper, like a third the price the next day. And this is a puzzle game where you play as a bird, or you play as the trees the bird drops nuts on, or something along that line. And it's kind of like when you draw a bunch of lines between lines and trace from the top to the bottom. You're trying to make the little seeds fall down to the right place. Pretty cool. Here we have...
Ooh, Uzumaki.
Right. That's you.
I've been
Kyle.
looking for these Wonderswan games. There's two of them, and we found this one. It was 1,200 yen, and I was like, I'm buying it.
Yeah, which is, I think, is a pretty reasonable price for a box
Yeah.
game. I mean...
It's in really good shape.
Here's Super Robot Wars. The only games of this released in the US were on Game Boy Advance, but there are a bazillion different versions for a bazillion different systems in Japan. And this is the first one on Wonderswan for like 600 yen, so definitely pick that up.
And more Wonderswan.
This is Dekotora Densetsu. It's a game where you play as a semi-driver and you decorate stuff. We actually did a Let's Play of this on the Explosion channel.
Yeah, on my old podcast YouTube channel.
It's pretty cool, pretty weird.
We might revisit that someday.
Akihabara, this is Ghouls and Ghosts. I really want it, but it was also, like 80-some hundred?
Yeah,
like,
basically $80.
really expensive. So, did not pick that up, but still really cool they had it.
Moving on, those look to be some books and guides there, and Zach found the Saturn section.
I'm sitting down in my suit. I'm wearing a suit because I had an interview that day, by the way. Just so you know, don't wear suits just because I can.
You could.
I could, but I don't.
Be cool.
Be all right. But, yep. Saturn, I tend to end up just sitting there and watching it forever. Dreamcast.
A lot of Dreamcast there as well.
Yep.
Neither of us have one right now, yet.
Ooh, Virtual Boy.
Wario Land. I think it was like $80.
It's the good Virtual Boy game.
The one.
This is us just walking through Nakano Broadway. This is, I think, on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of shuttered off places. There's a few cool shops up there to look around in, but not really stuff that we would personally like look for to buy.
I think there's actually an active animation studio up there.
It used to be, I think, a lot more active like 20, 30 years ago. But since a lot of shops have moved out, there's a lot of other kind of businesses that have moved in. So it's a cool place to walk around and look in for sure.
Here, there's usually an arcade, I think.
On the left, it says TRF here. That used to be an arcade. Or I think it still is. We just were there when they weren't open.
It opens at 5 p.m.
It was also
enough.
a Friday, like at 2 or 3 or something.
Yeah.
And so they just weren't in operation that day. But
Yeah, you can see here, open to 5, and they're open until midnight, which is interesting.
it's a cool place, though. I've been here a few times. Very smoky, but they have a lot of really, really, really sweet old arcade games, so that like Astro City cabs. Very cool.
And this is just a random shop that has things out in boxes. Taking a look at this VHS tape. Didn't really know what it was, so I didn't buy it.
Yep.
And they have these old fan magazines for things like sci-fi, Western movies, that kind of stuff. For 330 yen, that's really cool. I should have picked that up, but space is the problem, as always.
It's surprising how cheap some really, really, really old stuff is in good condition just because there's not a huge market for it. This is a special area of Mandarake where they basically put all of the incredibly rare, expensive, weird figurines and models and statues and things.
If you're a toy collector looking for cool, nice condition, old, specific toys from this era,
And when we say old, we mean like as much as like 60 or 70 years old even.
yeah, this is definitely a shop for you.
Yes.
I'm not into that world, so I can't speak for how the pricing is or anything, but I can definitely look and enjoy and have a great time.
It's pretty cool stuff. Every time I come in here, I always see something I'm just like, man, that's like what? But what do we got here? Ah, look at that cool bear frog.
For $800.
Yeah, I want to pay $800 for that.
And then this little guy down here was what, like $2,000? No,
$3,000 for that
$3,000.
little like wind up Godzilla looking thing.
wow.
It's crazy. This place specializes in Western games, oddly. Non-Japanese stuff, so that's interesting.
Yeah. These little Game Boy things, of course, caught my eye, but they were really expensive. One's a Game Boy air freshener
You want that for your car that you have in Japan.
for
Kyle.
like basically $8, and then that Game Boy, I don't know what it was, wallet maybe, was like $30. So I left.
It's a cool shop, though.
Yeah, worth checking out.
Absolutely.
Here we have just a little shop for capsule games.
Mario. This place you see on the left is a real nice coffee shop, actually. And it's usually pretty busy, considering it's on like the 3rd floor way back in a weird corner. This is a camera junk shop. So you want camera parts for fixing or repairing or so on and so forth. That's the place to go.
Lots of photographers in there looking for deals. Looks like an adult store. A store for adults.
For adults, not for kids. For adults.
And here are some of those restaurants.
Though most of them look good.
Yeah.
Like, honest to goodness, it looks like the kind of stuff you'd run into in Akihabara, like just cheap, filling, simple dishes.
course, lots of adult media and anime figures and all that
Yes.
kind of stuff if you're into that kind of thing.
That store we saw for just a second specializes in Western film, so pretty unusual to run into that in Japan, I feel like.
Really cool entryway to this Mandarake that I think I don't remember what that one sells, maybe figures or something that I'm not actively pursuing right now. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Another little restaurant. It's cool. You get a little slice of everything here.
It's a Chinese food place on the left there. That place looked actually really good. I remember
Smelled
like,
good, too.
Yeah, I remember walking by there and be like, man, if I hadn't already filled my tummy up with delicious food and beer and stuff, I would have definitely checked that out.
More gachapons.
Yeah.
It's always fun. Check it out. You might find something interesting.
There's actually a surprisingly good amount of like different things of high quality in gacha machines in Japan. Look at this old monitor.
We want those very badly.
We were both drooling real hard. It's kind of hard to see, but to the left of that red monitor there is an old CRT, probably like a medical monitor or something. Has a lot of fancy knobs. I don't know if Kyle saw it or not. Maybe it's gone, but there used to be an anime cell shop that sold actual frames from anime.
Oh, yeah. I think it might have been shuttered that day. I didn't
Yeah.
notice it this time.
But you can get like Ghibli stuff. The ones that are actually good shots of well-known characters are really expensive, but it's surprising how cheap shots of like the back of a character or some minor bit can be. So
It's
if you
an
have
actual cell from the movie.
actually used in the animation. So
Really
if you
cool.
want just a piece of memorabilia from an anime, that actually is a place to check out.
Okay, and Zach said the first floor is not worth checking out, but as he was heading somewhere else, I stopped by this Gayo, I believe it's
It's
pronounced.
spelled Gayo, yeah.
And they usually sell, they have all kinds of different shops. They do video rental, they sell games and stuff. This one mostly was focused on cell phones, but I thought, let's check it out. And boy, am I glad that I did.
Yeah.
Because I found a Korg DS10 for 480 yen. That's about 1/10 of what it goes for on the internet.
It's absolutely baffling. I don't know how or why.
I've
Somebody
ne-
made a big mistake.
I've
Basically.
never seen it less than 1,800 yen.
Crazy.
Super cool find. So now we're moving on to a nearby book off.
Yes. This is one of the back streets of Nakano Broadway. There's a lot of real cool kind of stuff around the mall, like I said a bit ago, but this is a good... Oh, that's... thank you.
Nakano's a cool area.
It
Lots
is.
of these narrow little streets, a lot of interesting local restaurants, bars, you name it. It's a cool place to hang out for sure.
Yep.
And we stopped into the 7-Eleven.
Oh, boy. Got
Got
ourselves
it.
an ochawari, some shochu, and tea, which is one of my favorite drinks. Low calorie, very light.
Yep, no sweetness, no sugar.
Yeah, not a cocktail. It's just tea and some alcohol.
In the US, at least, it seems like green tea, they usually just dump sugar into it.
Yeah.
So you don't actually appreciate that interesting green tea flavor,
Yep.
which I've learned to really love. He does too. Look
As
at
do
that.
I. It's true. Book off. We're here. This is one kind of behind the mall if you're coming from Nakano Station. Maybe what, like a 10-minute walk, I think it was?
Yeah, about a 10-minute walk.
So it's not too bad, and it was pretty decent.
A very nice leisurely stroll.
Yes. Good to stop by a convenience store and grab a bite or some drinks or something. Take your time.
Get a lay of the land.
Yep. One thing to be careful about, by the way, is that big ol' kanji for book there, hong, is not always a book off, but I always think it is.
Yeah, I fall for that sometimes too. Sometimes it's just a bookstore.
Yep. Still cool. Bookstores are nice, but some PlayStation stuff. Switch there.
It was a decent little book off. We
It
found
wasn't
a couple
bad,
interesting
actually.
things.
Oh, this is a thing that I actually ended up buying. It's called Senran Kagura, and they had two versions, the original and then Senran Kagura Burst. And it turns out Burst is the sequel, but it has the entire first game as well, which is what I'm holding up to the camera now. It's an action game with anime booberina stuff.
Voluptuous ladies.
Yes. But apparently it's actually a good action game, so, glad I could finally get it. Reasonable price.
And hey, look at this.
Oh.
A nice quality boxed Puyo for Game Boy.
463 yen. That's-
463 yen.
Anything boxed at that price, I feel, is worth
Yeah,
it.
can't go wrong. I
Yep.
picked it up. I have so many copies of Puyo at this point, but it's okay.
It's one of the games that I feel like everybody played in Japan as a kid, and so there's just copies of it everywhere.
It's like a warm blanket. You can always just hop in and have a good time.
There's Gradius 3, It's a really, really, really good Super Famicom shoot 'em up. Most people, I think, even you know it outside of Japan, but usually expensive.
Probably worth it though, honestly.
I mean, it's
not a terrible
they're a great
price for
series.
it.
If I was going to get that, I'd probably get like a collection of some kind, but even still
Final
worth
Fight
it.
2.
Great beat 'em up. Actually, apparently the first Final Fight is one of the games that basically promoted the beat 'em up genre to become even like popular in Japan. It started that whole craze.
Another thing that it's worth investing the money in, but just wasn't feeling it that day.
See a Darius there. Darius is sweet right there.
Yeah, pretty cool little finds for a book off.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have a whole lot of stock. What they had was actually pretty decent and reasonably priced. So, good, nice, I wouldn't say surprise because we were planning to go anyway, but pleasant to run into stuff that you actually...
Those are good prices for those games. I've seen Mega Man X for like 5,000 yen.
Yep. Mother. It's Earthbound. Oh.
Check it out.
Yeah.
It's a Penaru de Pon Pokemon for 463 yen. My wife loves Penaru de Pon and Pokemon, so I had to pick it up.
It's a puzzle game.
Just a weird controller.
I do like controllers with LCD screens on them.
I don't know what it does.
I don't either.
But it looks great.
It's probably programmable, actually. A lot of them, usually, when they have that screen on there, you can change button layouts and stuff.
So now at this point, I think Zach went on to some other event.
Yes.
So I'm just wandering around, and I found my way to Higashi Koenji, which is about a 20-minute walk away from where we were in Nakano. They have a little book off here, so I hopped on in to see what they had. Bayonetta 1 for 880 yen. Seems like a pretty good deal.
It's a good game.
I wish I had a PS3. I feel like it would pay itself off because at this store they also had a 400 yen copy of Skyrim, which is insane.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen it that cheap on Steam. And that's a really good price for Nier. 36. It's finally coming down.
Finally. I don't think it's going to get much cheaper than that, honestly. Not for a long, long time. But...
somewhere around the 3,000 yen, I'll pick it up.
Yep. There it is.
There's that cheap Skyrim. That's a deal. That's a lot of game for $5.
It really is. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, how much? It's way more than that usually, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, on the Switch, it's still, $60.
It's going to be expensive forever on Switch, but PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, GameCube. They've got some Xbox games, which is pretty unusual. Ooh.
Honing in on the one Saturn game they had.
Oh,
and that's a good price for that.
And that's a good selection. If you're going to have one single Saturn game, Sonic R is a game that you could have.
You can easily pay 1,000 yen more than that if you're not careful.
It's true.
Monster House.
Nice. Oh, Super Mario. Nice. Which one was that? I think it was...
Metroid Hunters for 400 yen.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Metroid Hunters is pretty decent. I mean, a lot of people complain about it, but I like it a lot.
And Warrior Land 4 for 232 yen. If I didn't already have it, that would definitely be worth picking up at that price.
Warrior Land games are sweet. There's a Game Boy Advance, PSPs, Game Boy Color.
Yeah. The Game Boy Color was like 3,300 yen. That was a bit more than I wanted to pay for that model. But I found one very similar to that
What
later.
is this?
This is a random junk shop. They were closing down. They had things out on the street. And a couple of things caught my eye. Let me show you.
Okay. This is my first time seeing this too, so I'm excited to know what he found.
So out on the street, they had stuff just piled up.
God, that's awesome.
And they were super nice guys. But this is why I stopped.
Oh.
This old Trinitron. I have no idea if it's good. I wouldn't have anything to do with that I could use it for easily without some adapters, because you can see it doesn't really have any common inputs.
Yeah.
But it just looks cool. Look at it. Look at those knobs and the old logo down there.
Yeah.
The Trinitron logo. So cool.
The kanji there says Mukashi, which means like really old. So it's just like it's a really old Sony TV. That's all this label says.
For $30, I would have picked it up, but
yeah.
I don't know. Didn't want to deal with it. And this cool old boombox. Boomboxes are really popular right now. I don't know if that's everywhere, but in Japan, a nice one like this, you'd be hard pressed to find for under $100.
Yep.
Okay, so that was our day in Nakano and Higashi Koenji.
Yes.
We picked up all kinds of stuff, as you can see here. I'm not going to try to list it all. I'll give you a couple nice shots, a couple zoom-ins. We each spent, do you remember how much you spent that day? You spent more than me that
way
day, for
too
sure.
much. Yeah, at the Mandarake game section in Nakano Broadway, I got so excited that they actually had more than like 3 Wonderswan games, and they actually had the boxes that I just went crazy and got like 5 of them. I think it was like 6,000 some yen for all of them. And then I found out the next day at a different place that will do another video that though you can get them for way cheaper if you look harder. So screwed up there, but it's cool. I was glad to get them.
Sometimes when you're out in the wild and you see things, you just get too excited and you pick them up. It happens to the best of us, man.
It's all good.
I've done it many, many times.
Yep. And then I also got that Senran Kagura 3DS booby action game. So that's cool.
Yeah. I picked up one of my most sought after games, the Uzumaki Wonderswan game, which is based on Junji Ito's horror manga classic masterpiece of the same name, Uzumaki.
And I believe that one was the one that's not a visual novel, but an actual like action kind of RPG, not visual novel game. I think, maybe.
Yes, it's an actual game.
Actual game.
And a couple Game Boy games, as usual.
As always.
And other fun things. Thank you for joining us in Nakano. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you have a chance to come visit and go there yourself someday.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like and all that fun stuff if you like what we're doing.
We have a great time doing it, and hopefully you'll have a great time watching it. As always, keep on hunting.
Keep on hunting.
I use chopsticks like a real person. See this? This means nothing. I'm not even hungry. God. Oh, that's way harder than I thought it was.